Critics say it was inappropriate for President Trump to hold a second meeting alone with President Putin and not disclose it to the public. But Trump rejects the criticism, saying it's more fake news.
The meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany was front-page news.
It's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you.
But it took more than a week for word of a second encounter to come to light. The conversation happened at a dinner for G20 leaders and their spouses. According to U.S. media outlets citing unnamed sources, the meeting lasted up to an hour. No other U.S. officials were reportedly present. A Russian translator was used and no readout of the conversation was provided to the press.
To go into it so-called naked without any representative or any interpreter from our side, from the American side, is extremely troubling.
Putin was seated next to Mrs. Trump, the U.S. First Lady, and the White House says President Trump simply went to see his wife and only briefly spoke to Putin. On Twitter, Trump wrote, "The fake news is becoming more and more dishonest. Even a dinner arranged for top 20 leaders in Germany is made to look sinister." As all things Russia dominate the news about Trump, the White House has named John Huntsman as its nominee for ambassador to Russia. He was the U.S. ambassador to China from 2009 to 2011 under President Obama. He left that post to run for president.
I'm a candidate for the office of President of the United States of America.
His campaign failed, but he's seen as a competent diplomat among his colleagues, well-versed in foreign affairs.
I think it's a very critical posting, and given his familiarity with China and the United States, of course, I think with so many of the issues confronting us in the world today that involve both Russia, China, and the United States, he's uniquely qualified, uniquely positioned to really help America and these other two countries work all together.
It could be weeks or even months before Huntsman takes up his new post in Moscow. He'll need to be approved by the U.S. Senate, where he will likely be grilled about the ongoing investigations into this alleged Russian interference in the U.S. election aimed at helping Donald Trump. Elaine?
So, Jim, where do those Trump-Russia investigations currently stand?
Well, on Monday, Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law and a top advisor, will testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee in a closed-door session. Kushner will be asked about meetings and contacts he has had with people related to Russia. We know he did not disclose some of those meetings, and there are people on Capitol Hill now calling for his security clearance to be revoked. That would make it almost impossible for him to retain his post as a top advisor to the president.